Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to seriously level up your Python game. We're diving into 3 super powerful tools that'll help you write code that's not just working, but is cleaner, way more efficient, and just more professional. So, let's get them in our toolbox. Okay, be honest. Does this feel familiar? You find yourself copying and pasting the exact same few lines of code in different spots in your project? I mean, yeah, it works, sure, but you've got that nagging feeling that there has to be a better way, right? This is one of the most common hurdles for any developer. And trust me, overcoming it is a huge step forward. And that better way? Well, it's all built on this one simple but really profound principle. Don't repeat yourself, or as you'll hear all the time, DRY. The whole idea is just to cut down on repeating code. Instead of writing the same logic a bunch of times, you write it once and then you just reuse it. It makes your code so much easier to read, debug, and, believe me, way easier to maintain down the road. So where do we start? Well, we start with the most fundamental tool in any programmer's kit, the function. Seriously, think of these as the essential building blocks for creating code that's organized, reusable, and, you guessed it, dry. At its heart, that's really all a function is. It's just a block of code that you give a name to. It's designed to do one specific thing and do it well, whether that's greeting a user, calculating some value, whatever. You define it one time, and then you can call it from anywhere you need it as many times as you want. The basic life of a function is pretty simple. First, you define it using the def keyword. You give it a name and tell it what inputs or parameters it needs. Then you call the function using that name to make it run. And finally, a function can send a value back to you using the return statement. So this greet function here, for example, it just takes a name and returns a nice personalized hello. Simple as that. But here's where the real magic of functions kicks in, their flexibility. First up, we've got default arguments, so you don't have to supply a value every single time. Super handy. Then there are keyword arguments, which let us pass in values by name. This makes your code way clearer to read. And for the ultimate power move, Python gives us args and quargs. This fancy syntax lets a function accept any number of extra arguments, which is just incredibly powerful for building really adaptable tools. And oh, it doesn't stop there. Python functions can return multiple values at once, which is perfect for when you need to get, say, a bunch of different metrics from one operation. You can even nest functions inside other functions to kind of hide away helper logic and keep things tidy. But maybe the coolest idea of all is that in Python, functions are what we call first-class citizens. You can pass them around just like any other variable, which, well, that just opens up a whole world of elegant and advanced programming. All right, let's grab our next tool. Sometimes you need a function for a really small temporary job, and defining a whole def function can just feel like overkill. For exactly these situations, Python gives us lambdas. This slide shows the difference perfectly. On the left, there's our standard function to square a number. On the right, that's the lambda version. See how short that is? It's anonymous. It doesn't have a name, and it's all on one line. It's just the inputs, a colon, and then the thing you want it to return. That's it. Super concise. So where do these little guys shine? Well, lambdas are the perfect partner for functions that work on lists like map, filter, and reduce. Think of them as quick, disposable tools. You need to transform every single item in a list? Use map with a lambda. You need to select only some of the items? Use filter with a lambda. Or you need to boil down an entire list into just one value? That's a job for reduce and a lambda. And here is a perfect real-world example. Let's say you have a list of dictionaries, right? And you want to sort the whole list based on each person's age. Instead of writing a whole separate function, you can just pop a simple lambda into the sort method's key argument. It just cleanly tells Python how you want to sort with zero extra clutter. It's so good. Now, for our third and final tool, and this one is a real fan favorite for just how elegant it is. When your goal is to create a new list or a set or a dictionary from an existing one, there is simply no cleaner, more Pythonic way to do it than with a comprehension. Okay, just take a look at this. This is the wow moment. On the left, that's the old way. You initialize an empty list, you loop through your sequence, and you append to the list every time. It works, but it takes 3 lines. Now, look at the right. That is a list comprehension. It does the exact same thing, but in one single, beautiful, readable line. This is what developers mean when they talk about writing Pythonic code. And they are stunningly versatile. You can tack an if clause on the end to filter the items you're looping over. You can put an if-else expression right at the beginning to transform items based on a condition. You can even nest multiple for loops to just effortlessly flatten complex things like a matrix of data. And of course, you can call any function you want on the items, all inside that one elegant line. Now, while list comprehensions are definitely the most common, this same powerful syntax works for other data structures too. You can use curly braces to create a set comprehension, which is awesome because it automatically handles getting rid of duplicates for you. And by just defining a key value pair, you can build a dictionary comprehension just as easily. Okay, so we've covered functions, lambdas, and comprehensions. 3 really powerful tools. But the real key to mastery is knowing when to use each one. So let's break that down, nice and simple. So here's your cheat sheet. Use a full def function when your logic is complex. It has multiple steps or you plan on reusing it in a bunch of different places. Reach for a lambda when you need a simple, one-off, kind of throwaway function to pass into another function like sort or map. And if your only goal is to create a new collection from another one, a comprehension is almost always the most elegant and efficient choice you can make. Ultimately, it all comes back to that DRY principle we started with. Using these tools the right way isn't just a party trick. It's really about elevating your craft as a programmer. The goal is to write code that another developer, or let's be real, your future self, can look at and just instantly get it. It's about writing code that isn't just functional, but is actually beautiful. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Go look at your own code. Find one of those multi-line for loops that's just building a list. Which one are you going to transform into a clean, one-line comprehension first?